From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my handsome and talented co-host, Joshua Tesla Bevan.
Tesla?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm all electric? Is that...
No, because you work good for one day and then you need to
Oh,
recharge.
jeez. It's funny because it's true.
I found this amazing list of nicknames for, they call them teammates.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, he's Tesla.
Oh, no.
That's not true. You are a workhorse. You're hybrid.
A hybrid?
Yeah. You're gas powered and
flex
electric.
Fuel.
You are flex fuel. Seriously. You are quite terrific. You don't ever need to recharge. You don't need to recharge.
I feel like I do, though.
You really don't.
I don't think I ever came back from winter break. Like, I feel like I said, okay, as soon as we get back into the year, I'm going to be hustling and going, and I still feel like, what are we, a few weeks into January, and I haven't
16th.
Haven't gotten.
Don't you think everyone feels that way?
Oh, okay. I hope so.
I think January is kind of an odd month.
Yeah.
It's kind of I don't know. Let's call it a rebuilding month.
Perfect.
Yeah. We're rebuilding our basketball team.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's a rebuilding
season.
Yeah. It can be the whole season. That's fine. Totally fine. I wanted to thank Tipster Miranda for her beautiful words on the Just the Tipsters Facebook page. She wrote us a little recommendation. I love on Facebook pages when it's like, do you recommend this business, or in our case, podcast? And she wrote some lovely things. And Miranda's a wonderful human being from the state of Washington, and we're grateful for her and her words. Miranda. Yeah, it was really sweet. So while I'm talking about that, if you would like to give us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, we would be very grateful, or any streaming service that you listen to. That's how people find us. And Lord knows we can use some finding. So we would be very grateful.
Yeah, please.
If you like this podcast, please do something like that. We would, again, it's a painless gift, and it's a really big gift to us, which you don't know how much it means. So we have so much in the hopper. I spent about 25 minutes telling Joshua about all the stuff coming up, and I threw so much up on him that he's like, wait a minute, is this case?
Wait, is that the other
was
one?
Getting, I know. I told you it was a lot, and I didn't mean to confuse you. I also said it's going to seem like I'm on cocaine. So, but I'm not on cocaine. I promise you, I am not on cocaine that you know of.
Okay.
Can you imagine me on cocaine?
Oh, no.
Would that be terrible? I think it'd be terrible.
I've
never done that.
I think it would be great to hang
observe.
Out with you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like an operating room where you're upstairs looking through the glass, and I'm in the room going na 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 na, just running the theme song from Benny Hill. Na 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 na, just running in a circle.
That's it.
Yeah, that would be probably. Although it could have that opposite effect, like people that have ADHD, they give them Ritalin, and then it makes them slow down or something.
I'm not exactly sure how that works.
I don't know either. Bodies are fascinating.
Yeah, I think chemistry. It speeds up your mind enough to be able to focus.
Oh! Is that how it works?
That's what Ritalin and Adderall kind of.
Oh, I thought it sped you up, but you're already speedy, so it has the opposite effect, and it slows you down. But you might be right.
I'm not really sure.
I'm not either.
I do know. There are definitely times where I will get I've never done cocaine,
either.
But I love caffeine
Me too.
and taurine
I
and
don't like that.
oh, you don't like that buzz? Oh,
So
I'm
taurine, and I think it's called either creatine or not creatinine. That's a blood thing. Creatine and taurine are the ones they tell you to avoid that give you like racing
no, I
heart.
love it though.
Yeah. So here's the difference between me and Joshua. He shows up today and he's like, I said, look, you're going to think I'm on cocaine and I'm not. And Joshua goes, you're going to think I'm like spinning out because I had a cup of coffee or
Right.
whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, you fucking sissy. I've had 2 Mountain Dew kickstarts.
Right.
But they don't have creatine or taurine.
But I get crazy addicted to it, so I keep them out of as much as possible. And then when I
That's
do it,
why.
I'm like, yeah.
You're like that. He shows up with a tumbler full of green tea. Like, how fucking healthy is that? You're like, you know,
I try to be healthy.
yeah. You're like, the the last time I had water. Let's not talk about it. But anyway, so I'm going to tell you, this is embarrassing. And I'm going to tell you anyway. I don't like water. I hate it. It's boring.
Yeah,
I try hint water. I've tried so many different things to include more water. And I had a doctor once tell me, so what? Soft drinks have water. Coffee has water. I'm like, yes. So I had to have a full bladder for a weird ultrasound last week. I had to consume 32 ounces of, on the instructions, 32 ounces of water before having, a wand inserted and good times. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you people. So I drank 1 bottle of water, which is 16.9 ounces. And then the rest of it's Mountain Dew Kickstart.
Perfect.
And then I show up and I'm like, hi, is my bladder full enough? Because they're like, if your bladder's not full, we're gonna have to reschedule. And she goes, oh yeah. And I'm like, and I felt like I had beat the system.
I pulled one over
because I drank Mountain Dew Kickstart, half water, half Mountain Dew Kickstart. I know.
Gotcha.
I'm like, you don't even know that I drank Kickstart. I know. Am I ridiculous?
Oh,
I'm such a rebel.
You are.
I'm such a rebel. I know. It's like,
that's
could have been vodka or
that's
something.
Your rebellious act.
Yes. To drink half water, half Mountain Dew Kickstart. And I begrudgingly drank a bottle of water just because I was like, they're going to know. They're going to know if that it's all Mountain Dew Kickstart. They're going to see red floating around on the ultrasound. And they're going to be like, what's wrong with her?
Listen, you drink so much Mountain Dew Kickstart. I think there's your whole insides are colored red anyway.
If you cut me, I bleed Kickstart. It's not blood. It's Kickstart.
You don't need any of that like barium stuff or whatever. Everything's already highlighted.
They could do MRIs and like, oh yeah, there it is, all lit up.
That's perfect.
That's hilarious. You know what? There are worse things to be addicted to.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that we both agree.
Absolutely.
So you're on coffee and I'm not on caffeine. So
that's why I've never tried cocaine.
Because you're afraid of the addictive quality?
You
don't strike me as an addict.
Either I don't like it and I wasted my money and time, or worse.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've always figured.
I thought I was an addict for a long time, but I am not. I thought I had an addictive personality, but I apparently don't. It took, other people to tell me because I was trying to force myself into a box.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I guess I don't, because I don't give two shits about, saying I'm addicted to Mountain Dew Kickstart is kind of true, but I could absolutely live without it. But I will tell you,
if they discontinued it, you'd be pissed.
They discontinued Mountain Dew Code Red, Diet Mountain Dew Code Red.
Right. Okay.
They discontinued that, and I thought I was going to die, and I did not. I'm still here, and I didn't even. I love anything cherry flavored, so it's black cherry. It's Mountain Dew Kickstart Black Cherry. I don't like all the Mountain Dew Kickstarts. Let's be real.
Sure.
There's like mountain grape and citrus and I don't know what the hell else, but the one that's my beloved is the black cherry. And it is quite delicious. I have one friend, Suzanne, who loves Dr. Pepper so much that she will take 2 to 3 trips a day to Sonic and go through the drive-thru. It's $1 for the large.
The fountain.
Yep.
That hits different.
And a little tiny ice.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. So I will tell you, this might be indicative of an addiction. I haven't done it in a while, but you sleep all night, you're thirsty, you get up in the morning. First thing I do is walk Siren, but I let her out in the backyard first for a minute or two while I get her leash and everything. And I go to the refrigerator and I open it up and I open a Mountain Dew Kickstart and I take a big swig of cold Mountain Dew Kickstart and put it back. And I have said out loud, I love you. And caught myself saying, I love you to a can of Mountain Dew Kickstart in my refrigerator. And I was like, you might have a problem. You might. I now say, damn, that's good. Yeah, I say that because I found myself saying, I love you. And meaning it with every fiber in my being that I fucking loved it.
And poor Siren is there wagging her tail.
No, she's outside looking and talking to you. Why is mommy talking to the can again? Mommy's in front of the refrigerator talking to the can again.
She can read lips.
Yeah, right.
I love you.
I thought she only said that to me. She's saying it to inanimate objects.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't care what you say.
Nothing.
Okay, well, now that you all know I'm an addict, we are moving on. I did say to Joshua, we have a lot in the hopper, and I meant it.
Yeah.
And we need to re-record an episode that we tried to record that I know. And Joshua is my witness. Yeah. Everything looked great. And then it wasn't there. And there's no explanation. There's zero explanation. We're both looking. We're looking now. We're like,
it's recording. We got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's recording. God damn it! Please record.
The other one was. I swear.
I know.
I looked so many times while we were going.
Me too. I looked a couple times, not as many times as you, but it's a bummer because it was 59 minutes of pure magic.
Oh,
maybe not, but it was a pretty good episode.
Oh,
yeah. Right. Well, it's still going to be different. That's the thing because I don't remember shit that I say.
Sure.
In fact, yeah, you don't remember shit I say.
Exactly.
You might remember shit you say, but you never remember anything I say. You don't remember anything about what I talk about. But I love when people remind me of shit, and I am like, "What are you fucking talking about?" And it was something I said. So sweet tipster Charlotte sent me a text and said, "Do you remember when you were sponsored by AARP?" And I go, "I've never been sponsored by AARP." And she goes, "No, it was, you did your own commercial and it was called ARP for asshole retired people." And I'm like, I'm fucking funny.
That's funny.
I know. I have zero recollection of that at all. It's probably from years ago. Charlotte's been listening since like day one.
And she told you your own joke.
Yes, and I absolutely, I did because I know. At first I thought she just missed an A.
Sure.
She's like, "Remember when you were sponsored by AARP?" And I'm like, "No, I've never been sponsored by AARP." And she goes, "No, not AARP, ARP. It was a commercial you did and you called it asshole retired people." And I'm like, oh shit, that's fucking funny. And I could kind of picture, but I have no idea what I said. So anyway, we do not have a sponsor. Oh yeah, we do. Forgot Graveline.
Oh, Graveline.
Graveline is our sponsor. And if you go to graveline.rip and Graveline Tours, you can find it. I know you can. You can sign up for, if you are in the Los Angeles area and you want a interesting, fabulous, wonderful experience, consider taking one of the tours because they're all different and unique, and you'll find something that you're interested or fascinated by. Yeah. Even got reacquainted with them because Joshua got me a Christmas present and it turned out to be one of the loves of my life. So we got to take A Star Is Torn. We've taken, oh no, we didn't. We took Death Becomes Her.
Death Becomes Her.
And then there's A Star Is Torn, and we took the Manson, I think it's called the Manson Family Murders. And then they just launched, I think yesterday, actually.
Oh, okay.
The Black Dahlia tour. Yes. I'm just, and Adam finally announced that there is the horror, it's like a horror animated show hosted by John Hamm.
Oh.
Yeah, done on, I guess, Fox. I don't know if that means Fox is producing it. I don't know what channel it'll be on or what streaming service, but John Hamm plays a detective who, like, it looks like he's a grizzled detective going around cemeteries,
Oh,
and I
cool.
know.
Oh,
And
cool.
his character is hilarious. It looks like a beat up Superman.
Nice.
Yeah, like wearing a rumpled suit, like a combination of Superman and Columbo.
Like with big shoulder kind
Yes,
of V
yes,
look. Yeah,
yes.
okay, okay. And John
Exactly.
Hamm's got such a great voice. Oh
Perfection.
my gosh. Okay.
And
I
he's
like this.
funny and he's great and he's dry and he has great timing. So it's an animated, I can't wait.
Okay.
But Graveline is associated with it.
Oh, cool.
So I am very excited. We wish Adam all the, success in the world. So that is our sponsor for this week's episode. And poor Joshua, I was like, and then this, and then this. So this is fairly new. This came up like maybe a week ago. And I wasn't going to touch it, except that the victim, was a resident of the area very close to where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And that held interest. But even that is nothing compared to the interest of this case, which is so fucking different.
Wow.
We're going to play a clip from a local news channel in the Central Coast, which is where her body was found. And the newscast is from 2018. So this very sweet newscaster put this out in 2018 because, detectives were looking for help. But, and this is beautiful and heartbreaking. This is how Todd Matthews' work is continuing on past him passing away in the beginning of January. The DNA Doe Project is responsible for identifying Ada Beth Kaplan.
Got it.
13 years after her body was found. And they had their work cut out for them because there was not a lot for them to go on.
Wow.
It's a really uncomfortable, difficult case. So I think the best intro is having Matt put the newscast clip right here.
New at 5:30, when you break it down, most homicides county and nationwide have a clear motive: domestic violence, gang retaliation, or robberies gone wrong.
But once in a while, a murder comes along that leaves detectives bewildered. And this is the story of one of the most shocking crime scenes in Kern County, one that many have never heard about. 17's Olivia Lavoie joining us now, adding this investigation to a long list of Kern County cold case murders. Olivia?
Jim, as detectives put it, this case is like something out of a horror film. The morbid details never shared with the public until now. So we warn you, this story will be disturbing to some viewers. In 2011, someone ended the life of a woman, and since then, she and her loved ones have never really had a chance at getting justice. But you could change that. You might hold the answers that could solve this case.
It's one of the most scenic parts of Kern County. Orchards and vineyards spread along the rolling foothills at the base of Bear Mountain. But what can be described as nature's beauty has also become an all too familiar dumping ground for killers.
The body displays obvious signs of trauma, which lead us to believe that this is a homicide.
And I remember looking at the detectives and the sergeant on scene and the coroner investigator who had arrived on the scene, and we were all kind of just speechless. We were just kind of looking at each other, trying to get our minds around what we were looking at. It was that surreal.
This crime was different. This was overkill.
Something this gruesome is very unusual.
This is one of those types of murders and murder investigations that you come across maybe once in an entire career, maybe never.
Just outside Arvin, lying on a dirt road, the discovery that shocked even seasoned investigators.
Completely nude. She had been decapitated, probably between 40s or 50s, Caucasian or light-skinned Hispanic, on the dirt roadway, and it appeared that the body had been posed by whoever had left the body there.
The killer left few clues, going to extremes to conceal the identity of the victim.
Mutilated bodies on homicides are pretty rare. We don't get too many of them. They do occur, but something to the point of full decapitation is pretty rare.
It was creepy. I remember having a couple of nightmares about it afterwards.
Pruitt says it's clear a lot of effort went into staging this murder.
The blood had been drained from the body. The crime scene itself was very clean. It looked like somebody had taken a mannequin, removed the head of the mannequin and then just posed the mannequin on a dirt road.
The decapitation was noticeably neat.
It was a fairly clean cut. They didn't just, the body wasn't just haphazardly dumped out of a moving car or dumped out of a car that pulled over on the side of the road. This person took their time to pull into this dirt access road, remove the body, place it on the ground, and then pose it in what I would consider a sexual manner, and wanted the body found like that.
The investigation, unfortunately, became cold shortly thereafter due to a lack of identification of the victim.
The woman had no signs of drug use, no tattoos, but there were some distinctive features that give some insight into the life she led.
She does have some surgical scars from a single mastectomy as well as a C-section. Beyond that, we don't know anything about her.
A possible battle with cancer, childbirth, but her DNA isn't in a criminal offender database or missing persons database.
We need to try to develop some motive or persons of interest based on who she is and who she was interacting with. Without that, we really don't have anywhere to go at this point.
One theory, the killer intentionally made her unidentifiable. Removing her head was just the beginning.
2 of her fingers were removed.
Not really fingers, but thumbs, both thumbs severed. Significant because unless you're a criminal offender, the only fingerprints in a public database, driver's license, or passports will be a person's thumbprint. But investigators say right now, everything is purely speculation.
There's a suspect or suspects out there who committed this crime and apparently were fairly comfortable committing this crime, and they're still out there.
Short of somebody coming in here and telling us why it is they did it, I don't know that we'll really ever have an answer to it.
Because the woman's head was never found, it's still unknown exactly how she was murdered. Now, investigators in this case are all on the same page. If the victim is never identified, the killer may never be found. Detectives are making this case public only now due to the obvious challenges they're facing. If the victim were to be identified, it would open up numerous avenues in the investigation. If you knew a woman who disappeared in 2011, who had a mastectomy and a C-section and was petite, about 100 pounds and 5 foot tall, you could hold the answers to solving this case. If you have any information, call the Kern County Sheriff's Department at 861-3110, or you can always stay anonymous by calling Secret Witness at 322-4040. In studio, I'm Olivia LaVoice, 17 News.
So this woman, I know,
crazy.
have you ever, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on in the world, but to not ever be reported missing, to think that maybe this woman lives alone and has no family,
Right.
and I have some other information about that. Like neighbors wouldn't report on this.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you why they probably didn't. But
Okay, so just to recap, that report was 2018.
mhm.
That was a few years after the body was discovered.
March of 2011,
March of 2011. Got it.
she was found in a vineyard in Kern County near Bakersfield. So let's say hour to an hour and a half drive from here.
Yeah.
They did not know where she was from
Mhm.
until a few days ago, a week ago, when the DNA Doe Project
Right.
found 2 relatives from back east, Forest Hills, New York.
Oh, okay.
She is Ashkenazi Jewish.
Mhm.
The detective Ray Pruitt, who was interviewed in 2018, he's the kind of detective you want on your
Right.
case. He was very motivated and expressive in what he found and saw, and said this is the kind of case you see maybe once in your career,
Yeah.
and said it even gave him,
Yeah.
nightmares. I understand when you come across a body. How many times have we heard somebody finding a mannequin or a sex doll on the side of the road and like, oh my God. And it's like, oh yeah, it's a mannequin or a sex doll.
Okay, sure.
I mean, there's a hilarious meme that's like, it's never a mannequin, which is funny, but
okay.
it is sometimes.
Sometimes it's a mannequin, sure.
To have a body and a scene remarkably clean.
Yeah.
after someone has been exsanguinated, their head cut off. Her head, by the way, never found.
Never found.
Nope.
Okay.
Head's never been found.
Nor her thumbs.
Nor her thumbs.
I'm imagining. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Posed a 64-year-old slight woman, 5 foot tall, 100 pounds, mastectomy scar, cesarean scar, which is very fascinating because I cannot find any information on children. So I do not know if maybe she had a child and it was adopted or.
Oh, after that. Okay.
Passed away. Don't know.
Is that. Yeah, I'm. You can't mistake a cesarean scar for something else,
like
right?
appendix or something.
Yeah, I
right.
mean, that's
no, it's
clear
very
that it's cesarean.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they also can tell from a woman's internal if they've had a child.
Sure.
Even if there's no, like outward sign, it's like, she gave birth at least once. You can tell from the separating of.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know where her child is, but I can tell you where her husband is. He's still here in the neighborhood.
Okay.
He's in his 80s.
Oh boy. All right.
She was married at the time and never reported missing.
Never reported missing.
Never.
Okay.
Never reported. In 2011. This is not, 1874. It's 2011.
Never reported missing. Okay. So obviously after the DNA was matched, detectives went and talked to the husband.
I don't know.
Oh, no. You don't know. Okay.
Nothing else has come out. And believe me, I've combed the internet because I'll tell you what I found. Some weird shit. Her husband was a constant writer of letters to the editor.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me in this town.
to the LA Times.
There's a lot of letter to the editor writers in this town, or people that, I mean, maybe newspapers aren't really as much of a thing anymore, but yeah,
right. We're talking 2011,
right? Mm-hmm. But people of that kind of.
So he's in his 80s.
Okay.
So we're going to go back. They got married. Ada Beth Kaplan married Glenn A. Moore, and I think it was 1985. They got married in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And she was 38 and he was 47.
Okay.
So he's a little older than her. So at this point, he is, in his late 80s.
Okay.
Or mid to late 80s. He might be 86 because I think 86 or 87 because Ada would be 79.
Okay. Got it.
So he is listed and she is listed as co-owners on their house they lived in.
Okay.
Found the address just by looking up, both their names together. He is also listed, that house, I will just be honest with you, and some point Joshua and I are probably going to have a little field trip because it's really close.
Oh, for sure.
It's at the end of a street. It's a cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small house, like maybe 1,100 square feet.
Oh, okay.
Small house.
Okay. 70s build neighborhoods out here. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And it's at the end of the street, and what it's next to is like a hill and the wash.
Got it. Okay.
So it's pretty weird back there by itself. Now, Glenn Moore is also listed with someone else who's 82, a female.
Mm-hmm.
And both of their names are listed on a house maybe a mile away from that other house.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're renting that house. Their new house is about 1,400 square feet.
Got it.
So he is listed with his deceased wife on one, and listed with his, I'm guessing, new wife.
Okay.
Whose name is Kill.
Oh, Jesus.
Unless it's pronounced Kyle, it's Kil.
Oh boy.
Kill D. Moore.
Oh no. Oh no.
Who's 82. And they're both listed as owners of a house about, a half mile away from. Have you ever heard of the name? Joshua is hurting himself. He is turning burgundy. laughing.
I'm wondering if this is an actual person or if he just
Yes.
made up the killed.
Because he's
What's
too,
your wife's
he's
name? Not killed.
He's not creative. Deed, dead,
Killed her.
deceased,
Killed.
right? It's Italian, deceased. Oh my God.
boy.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh.
Kill D. Moore
Okay.
and Glenn A. Moore are listed as co-owners of a house
Okay.
not far from the house. He still is listed as the owner
Okay.
with his deceased wife.
Oh boy. All right.
So now her body's found in March of 2011.
Got it.
In August of 2011, Glenn Moore says, "My wife, RUNNOFT, with a millionaire.
Oh.
No, multimillionaire, and I live alone with 3 dogs."
Okay. To whom does he say this?
It's in a comment. And I can't find what the original source is. So it's not the police as far as I know, because she was never reported missing.
Okay.
I don't know how he could get remarried.
Oh.
After 7 years, someone can be declared dead.
Yeah, but
I guess you don't have to report them missing, but you have to show that there's been like no activity,
Sure.
or whatever. So he's
or produce a death certificate.
Right.
Which,
That's why I was
Right.
wondering if Kill D. Moore
right.
was a sibling or a child, but
Okay.
she is listed as 82 years old.
Got it.
So maybe a sibling.
Okay.
I think if you name your kid Glenn, I don't know that you name your girl Kill.
Okay.
To me, sounds
can't
like it might be from another country.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. I was
Uh-huh.
trying to think of what the heritage of
Right.
of Kill would KIL would be.
I don't know,
But I don't-
Norwegian
yeah,
or maybe Thai or, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that
Maybe
name at
it's
all.
maybe it's short for something. Because I'm not kidding you. It's Kill, letter D, Moore.
Okay.
And it says female.
Female.
I'm not kidding you. When I was looking for information, it said, "Did you mean Kim?"
Right, because
You know,
it tries
nope.
to correct your
Yes.
spelling. Sure.
I'm like, no, I did not.
Yeah.
I did not mean Kim. I meant Kill
Yeah.
or Kyle.
Kyle. Kill.
Kile. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how to pronounce it except Kill.
Yeah. Okay, so that's possible. It could be Glenn's sister,
Mm-hmm.
unmarried sister, or something,
Mm-hmm.
or
spouse.
or
Partner.
or a partner. Right.
Mhm.
Right.
I think it's fascinating that she was never reported missing. I think it's fascinating that she has a cesarean scar and there's no listing of children.
Sure.
They literally had one of the toughest jobs. There's a quote in here I'm going to find from, I think her name is Missy. In March of 2011, a woman's decapitated body was found in a Kern County vineyard, and that turns out to be Beth Kaplan. Her body is posed in an extremely, suggestive way.
Jeez.
So there's a Sergeant Hubbard, who's the younger detective who was interviewed in 2018 and said, he's on the audio clip. Mutilated bodies and homicides are rare. We don't get too many of them. Something to the point of full decapitation is very rare. Ray Pruitt, who I adore, who came back after retirement to talk about this case, this body wasn't just haphazardly thrown out of a moving car. The person took their time to pull over on this dirt access road, remove the body, place it on the ground, and pose it in what I would consider a sexual manner. They wanted this body found.
Right.
So the case went cold pretty quickly because there's just like nothing to identify her.
Sure.
This person, I mean, if you didn't know better, it's somebody who is either extraordinarily well-planned or a professional killer. A professional killer typically puts 2 to the back of the head. But if somebody wants to make a point, it's almost like she was being, like targeted by the mafia or,
Sure.
her husband or something. So anyway, you take her head off. Hadn't thought about why her thumb's important and not the rest of the fingers, because the person knows her and knows that she has no criminal history.
No
Uh-huh.
fingerprints are out there.
Yep.
Except for maybe a passport or
Yeah.
whatever, driver's
Yes.
license, the thumbprints.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Fascinating as fuck, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they ran her other prints through, CODIS. There's no,
Nothing.
Yeah. So in 2020, the coroner's office was like, look, we need help. And they reach out to the nonprofit DNA Doe Project, and they spent time working together building a family tree based on her DNA profile. So they find these 2 family members in New York that are identified, and they provide DNA samples for comparison. And it takes all this time to find out that it's her. And the Kern County Sheriff's detectives interviewed those 2 family members and found out, oh, yeah, there was never a missing persons report filed on her.
Wow.
I don't know why they're not mentioning her husband.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Obviously, my brain goes straight to the
Spouse.
husband.
Mhm.
Right. But even if it's somebody else, even if it's not him, and she leaves,
Mhm.
why not file a report or
Because she RUNNOFT.
okay, why not take her name off of the deed to the house and move on
Good
or
plan.
whatever?
I don't know.
If
Why?
she
Why wouldn't someone do that,
right,
Joshua?
that's what I'm wondering. If
No,
she
I know
really
it's rhetorical.
if she really,
Her
has
name
an
is still on the
affair and
deed.
goes off with some
Mhm.
other dude who's a
Mhm.
multimillionaire,
Mhm.
then you change the paperwork so that she can't steal the house too. Like she already messed you up, right? Like
But
she
he's a multimillionaire. He doesn't want your shitty little 1,000 square foot
okay,
house.
but what happens when he dumps her? And then she comes back and tries to take the house or
Well,
whatever.
maybe he'd be happy to welcome her back, Joshua.
Okay, maybe so. Sure. That's true. All right. I guess you've answered my questions. That's why he didn't do it.
I am so glad I wrapped this all up for you. Okay, well, thanks for joining us. And Melissa does it again. All right,
boy.
listen. So to me, it's someone who absolutely knew her.
Yeah.
Somebody who knew her history, think about this. This woman had a mastectomy. She had a cesarean.
Right.
Again, we don't know about a kid. I haven't found a kid, but I'm not a
Sure.
detective.
Well-
I felt lucky enough to find Glenn.
Right. And there's plenty they got together a little bit later in life. There was plenty of
Mhm.
she lived plenty of life before she
point.
got to
Good
Glenn
point.
that she could have had another, she could have had a kid. She could have had a birthed a child that gave up for adoption or
Mhm.
whatever before she and Glenn got together.
Good point. Yep. Very good point. That makes sense that it would be before him because, if you're starting a family at 38, you got to be really careful because you don't want, the
Right.
things that happen, birth defects that can happen when a mother is older, the eggs are older, whatever.
Sure. But yeah, so maybe she has a child
Oh yeah. You know
out
what?
there
Could be, yeah.
under Kaplan or under even another name.
Right. Since the DNA Doe Project worked so hard and all they found were 2 cousins on the East Coast plus many relatives still in Europe, I think if she had a kid, that kid hasn't submitted DNA to any open source websites or doesn't
sure.
want to know their birth mother or
Right.
whatever. Because I will tell you, when it came out last week that she was found, that she was identified, people kept saying, "Oh my God, how does this 64-year-old woman, she lived alone and no one cared." And
Yeah.
I'm like, 2011.
Yeah.
People are kind of nosy.
Sure.
There's an electronic footprint everywhere.
Right.
Seems odd. I don't know how. So let's just say Glenn didn't do this. In 2011, he would be 70, close to 70 or 71, something like that.
Sure.
She's 64. So his 64-year-old wife, cancer survivor, runs off with a multimillionaire and he leaves him alone with 3 dogs. I live alone with 3 dogs now. Seems odd. I get it if your feelings are hurt, if you are emotionally distraught because your spouse has left. But wouldn't you at least want to go through proper channels, like you had said.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think about getting her name off the house, but you made a good point.
I mean, yeah. If somebody betrays me that much,
Right.
I'm gonna then go protect myself so they can't
Right. Come back for anything else.
something else.
Yeah.
Come back and get her name off the house just in case she comes back and tries. What if the multimillionaire dumps her, and then she comes back and tries to take a whole bunch of extra stuff from me.
Yeah, I mean, I want to find the source of these comments he left, because it was, and I'm going to read you they're very short, his letters to the editor. And they're both on the same topic.
Okay.
So it was 2011, in August of 2011, he said that his wife had left him for a multimillionaire. And then in 2013, he said, I live alone with 3 dogs. Somewhere along the line, he met Kill D more, or she's a sibling who's living with him to take care of him, which seems odd because she's 82. So they probably both need someone to take care of him, but
sure.
I don't know. Maybe they're both just really healthy.
Or they're not even living together. Maybe if it is a sister,
why would her name be on the house?
Maybe it's her house and he's on it to help her.
Oh, you're smart. Yeah.
If they're
maybe he's still living in their house with the house he shared with Ada.
Sure.
And maybe he's helping kill.
Right. And I'm pretty sure you just said the name, right? He's helping. He's helping
1L.
Kill with 1L.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
We are terrible people that we cannot get through this without her name.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so look, there are a lot. I'm sure you're aware that there's a whole fuck lot of internet conspiracies. One person found an Ada B. Kaplan listed renting an apartment in West Hollywood.
Okay, recently?
Back then in 2011.
Okay.
And this is super weird. I don't think this is a connection, but I'm going to mention it because, again, it's one of the conspiracies. And it's, So Blake Liable lived in West Hollywood about 2 blocks from someone. We don't know if it's our Ada Kaplan, but an Ada B. Kaplan lived in an apartment in West Hollywood in 2011. Blake Liable lived 2 blocks from her.
Okay.
And here's the conspiracy theory, as to that he might be involved. I don't think that in 2011 he was practicing to kill his fiance that he didn't have yet.
This is way before
he. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just that. So it doesn't matter at all. But Blake Liable is of Ashkenazi Jewish descent, and he's from Canada. His father, Lauren Liable, is a Toronto real estate mogul and Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame inductee, and his mother, Eleanor Chattel Liable, is a hair product heiress. And so he comes from this, pretty rich family, and he is a graphic novel author, and he wrote something called Syndrome. And it's a graphic novel about a serial killer that murders a man by slitting his throat and hanging him by his ankles so that he bleeds out.
Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm. So his fiance, Iana Kassian, was born in Kyiv, and she studied law and worked as a prosecutor at the Ukrainian tax service. She immigrated to the U.S. in 2014, and she worked as a model after Blake Liable broke up with his wife in 2015. He quickly became engaged to Iana Kassian.
Okay.
On May 16th, she gave birth to their daughter, Diana. And then 3 weeks after she'd given birth to their daughter, May of 2016, her mother, Olga, said, I can't make contact with my daughter. She made many calls. She went shopping for a stroller for the baby, and she just never saw her daughter again. She went to the apartment, knocked on the door. No one answered. She got LASD officers involved. They knocked on the door. No one answered. Olga was at an apartment building across the street, and she yelled for her daughter to open the door. She saw Blake Leibel come to the window and close the curtain and disappear. On May 26th of 2016, they find in the apartment that she shared with Blake in West Hollywood, her body is lying on the bed in the master bedroom, and Blake is laying next door.
Oh my God.
He'd been laying there for quite a while. He had cleaned her body and spent time before the police arrived. She was mutilated, drained of all of her blood in the bathtub.
Oh boy.
He didn't kill their daughter. She was exsanguinated, and the official cause of death was head trauma.
Jeez.
Her entire scalp had been traumatically removed from her body and was never found. Her skull had been stripped down to the surface of the bone. There's no scalp present except for tiny bits around the back of her neck.
Jeez.
Portions of the right side of her face were torn away, including her right ear, and part of her face all the way down to the jawline and the neck are removed.
Oh boy.
She has bruises and abrasions on her face, primarily on the left side. That's the only part that's left. One turned out to be a human bite mark.
Oh.
She had lived for at least 8 hours after receiving the scalp injury and the bruise to the collarbone.
My God.
Dr. James Ribe, LA County Coroner's Office, said, "I have never seen this before, and I doubt if any forensic pathologist in this country or abroad, even outside of perhaps wartime, have seen something like this. It's so extremely rare."
Wow.
So he pled not guilty and said that he, had mental issues. I'm sure he does.
Sure.
He was, given a life sentence without a possibility of parole, but first degree murder, torture, aggravated mayhem. Even news reporters said this is the most grisly and worst gruesome murder in the history of West Hollywood, if not Los Angeles, which is fascinating because that's exactly what the detectives in Kern County said about Ada Kaplan. I just don't think that they're related.
They're both crazy, gruesome, but in two different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
one for jealousy. Granted, he wrote a graphic novel about a serial killer and, experimenting on people. But I don't think 5 years before he meets his fiance, has a baby, and is engaged and then kills her, he, was practicing on Ada Kaplan.
I don't know. It sounds like a conspiracy theory.
I think so too. And there's so many people, internet sleuths, who are really good at what they do and coming up with things. But I think this time it might just be a miss.
Yeah.
I get digging deeply, finding someone named Ada Kaplan who would have been in that age range, who lived in West Hollywood, 2 blocks from Blake Leibel. I get how that connection is fascinating.
Yeah.
This person said they'd already reported it to police, and I'm glad they did. But I don't think Blake Leibel is the person who did this.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound enough.
No, it's weird and uncomfortable, but there's weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All over.
Yeah.
All the time. So Glenn Moore, he of the effusive letters to the editor.
Oh, God.
This one was in 2009 for apparently a sheriff's deputy had been killed. And he said, "Once again, our criminal systems fail, and the LA Times calls for stricter gun control laws. Just what new restrictions do you ask for now? We have the assault weapon ban and a waiting period to check a purchaser's background. So what's next? A total ban on firearms?" Here's his next one from 2010. "This person was an illegal immigrant with a long criminal record. It just shows criminals will not be stopped by any gun control laws, including a complete ban on firearms. We cannot control the flow of illegals and drugs across our borders. A weapons ban would only give criminals another product to smuggle in for profit. In the meantime, without the fear of homeowners being armed, we would be at the mercy of criminals to do as they please."
Okay.
Like, I don't know,
Do as
kill
they
your wife?
Oh boy. Oh.
Your series on Los Angeles proves what everyone already knows. Los Angeles has a very serious gang problem. In one article, An Ordinary LA Weekend, 53 people hit by gunfire, May 19th of 2010. I figure at least 44 of those are gang related. Just when is the
geez.
Times going to wake up to the real problem? People killing their wives. No, I added that part. Right. So I was showing Joshua the information on Kill, and he found out here that their house was built in 1966, but that it was purchased in, what did you say, 1988?
83. 83 is when it was purchased on June
Okay.
of 83.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean,
That could absolutely be that she is a relative.
yeah,
She's 82. He's about 86.
yeah.
He and Ada's names are both still on the original residence. He
I
could have
wonder.
put his name on to help her buy a house.
Yeah, if it's a sister and
Mhm.
an unmarried sister, close enough with your brother, and the brother's kind of taking care of some stuff.
Are you
with
going to marry a girl named Kill? Maybe that's why she's unmarried.
That could be the problem to begin with.
Did you mean Kim?
Parents of daughters, take warning.
You name your son Glenn.
If you name your daughter Kill, she ain't never getting married.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's yeah. So yeah, Detective Joshua
I mean, that's
probably found out what
my
the deal
theory at
is.
this
I
moment.
like your theory. I like your theory a lot. His name is probably on it, maybe, to help her buy it or something.
Yeah, and especially if it's a few blocks away, he comes over and fixes the drain when it breaks or whatever. And
if you pay attention to details like Tipster Joshua just did,
sure,
as he's sitting across, co-host Tipster Joshua, as he's sitting across from me, and I'm handing him things, maybe you can figure out what the hell happened.
Sure.
At the hands of who. I really hope they do. I would love to know that she either had a child or the child is adopted or something. To think that all of her relatives are either very far away across the country or in Europe, it makes me very sad. And I guess there are reasons why someone wouldn't report someone missing. I don't know what those reasons would be, but I'm trying to, not point all my fingers toward Glenn.
Yeah.
But I'm doing that anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess obviously from the letters to the Times, his political beliefs are very
conservative.
Stay off my lawn.
Mm-hmm. Come back with a warrant.
So maybe it's just a general distrust of the
law
system
enforcement.
And law enforcement.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know, but I feel like in order to get something done, you would have to eventually.
Right. Yes, something. I think that's actually a really good point, that he probably distrusts, the government, law enforcement, etc. But I feel like she ran off with a multimillionaire is about the worst excuse one could give.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not well thought out.
I don't know.
It seems like someone who has spent so much time decapitating someone, exsanguinating them, and cutting their thumbs off, would you come up with, oh, she left with she left me with a multimillionaire?
Well, okay, unless that
is the truth.
Well, unless that's what she said on her way out. I mean, it's also possible that she did leave
of her own,
and
someone else
and then
did this.
Someone
to her.
else did this.
Yeah,
and
you could be right.
Yeah, and then and she went over somewhere in Kern County,
right,
with this new person, and then he something happened with him or with after
someone
him
else.
or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I'm trying to be open. You're much more open-minded than me.
And maybe Glenn's embarrassed of it, and something.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, without enough details, I do think there is something possible. Yes, it's weird.
Yeah, it sure
I
is.
want it, and I want to hear more from Glenn now,
Right.
13 years later,
Right.
and I want to hear. I mean, I want to hear a lot more details now that it's all connected.
Right.
And I'm sure we will.
I hope so. He could plead like, memory loss or something because he's in his mid.
Sure.
But we're coming for you, Glenn. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. What I mean is,
I just want to hear the story at least.
I would like to know what happened.
Yeah.
So many questions, many more questions than answers. So if you know anything about what happened to Ada Kaplan, and this is just not that long ago, 13 years ago, a woman disappears from Southern California and, never reported missing. I don't know. I don't like any of this. I don't like the way any of this smells.
Yeah.
If you have any information on what could have happened to Ada Beth Kaplan, please contact the Kern County Sheriff's Department at 661-391-7500. You can always contact us at 832-847-7837. That's 832-Tipster. You can email us at jttipsters@gmail.com, and you can find us on any of our social media platforms. Just the Tipsters Facebook page, at JT Tipsters on Instagram, at JT Tipsters Pod on Twitter, and more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.